Welcome students to online classes of mathematics for class 9. In this video we're going to start the chapter number 10, which is circles of NCERT textbook. Here we'll be looking at the exercise 10.1. This one is the session number 1 for this particular chapter. Myself Deepak Gautam, DGT Mathematics in Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. So let's start with today's class. The chapter number 10 circle is divided into total 8 subtopics which are listed here. Today in this session we are going to study the introduction part and the circles and its related term. Okay, so let's start with the introduction. So first we have the definition of a circle. A circle is simply the collection of all the points in a plane which are at a fixed distance from a fixed point in a plane is called a circle. Okay, simply it is the collection of the points. What is a circle is? Circle is a collection of points in a plane which are at fixed distance from a fixed point. Okay, so you can understand with the figure. We have a fixed point which is here, this red dot. Okay, this is the center of the circle. Okay, we have marked various equal distances from this point. Okay, so we are taking the center and we have marked these equal distance. Okay, all of them are at the equal distance, so we have marked the many points at the equal distance. Once we add all these points, okay, by joining these points we'll get a shape like this, and this figure is called circle. Or so simply the circle is collection of points in a plane which are at fixed distance. That fixed distance is called the radius of the circle from a fixed point, and that fixed point is called the center. And the collection of all the points, when you join all the points, you will get a figure which is called circle. Okay, so the circle is the collection of all the points in a plane which are at fixed distance from a fixed point in the plane is called circle. Okay, so we have many points here. Okay, from a fixed point we have marked, from a fixed point we have marked many points at a fixed distance. When you join all the points, we'll get a circle. Okay, next is the center. The fixed point is called the center of the circle. That fixed point inside the circle, from which all the points of the circle are equidistant, that fixed point is called the center of the circle. Okay, and the radius is the fixed distance between the center to any point on the center. Okay, this fixed distance from the center to any point on the circle, this distance is called the radius of the circle. Okay, so we have the definition of circle, which is the collection of all the points in a plane at a fixed distance from a fixed point in a plane is called circle, and that fixed point is called the center of the circle, and that fixed distance between the center and any point on the circle is called radius of the circle. Okay, let's move ahead. Part second is circle and its related terms. So in this first we have circle and its related term. First one is a circle divides the plane on which it lies into three parts. Okay, suppose we have a plane, and on that plane if we draw a circle, that circle will divide the plane into three parts. As you can see in this figure, consider this blue region to be a plane. Okay, so on that plane we have drawn a circle. So this circle is dividing the plane into three parts. Okay, first one is the inside of the circle, which is called the interior. Okay, so first one is the interior of the circle, that is a region inside the circle. Second one is the circle itself. Okay, this is the second one, the circle. And the third is the region outside the circle, which is this one. Okay, the exterior, which is called the exterior of the circle, that is region outside the circle. So a circle divides the plane on which it lies into three parts. Those are the first one is the region inside the circle, called the interior of the circle. Second is the circle itself, called the circle, and the third one is the region outside the circle, which is known as the exterior of the circle. Okay, next we have the chord. The chord is the line segment. Okay, simply the chord is a line segment. That means it will have the end points. Okay, so it's a line segment joining any 2 points on the circle is called the chord of circle. Okay, as you can see in this figure, we have marked these 2 points on the circle, and when we join these 2 points we get a line segment, and that line segment is called the chord of the circle. Okay, so chord of the circle is the line segment joining any 2 points on the circle is called the chord. Okay, suppose we have any circle, let's take any 2 points here. Okay, when we join these 2 points, we'll get a line segment, and that line segment will be called the chord of the circle. Okay, this is the chord, as you can see in this figure also. This one is the chord. Okay, next is the diameter. Diameter is also a chord. Okay, so diameter of a circle is also a chord which passes through the center of the circle. Okay, like I said, the definition of a chord is that if we join 2 points on the circle, okay, so if that line segment, which is a chord, is passing through the center, so this is center of the circle, and we have marked 2 points like this, and if we join this, you will get a line which is passing through the center. So this is a chord which is passing through the center, and this is known as the radius. As you can see in this figure also, we have marked 2 points on the circle, and the line segment joining these 2 points is passing through the center of the circle. So this chord will now be referred as the diameter. Okay, but this is also a chord. First it's a chord, and since it is passing through the center, so it will be termed as the, or we call it as the diameter of the circle. Okay, so simply diameter is the chord which passes through the center of the circle is called the diameter of the circle. Okay, so diameter itself a chord, but it is since it is passing through the center, so it will be referred as the diameter of the circle. Okay, next is the diameter is the longest chord of the circle. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many number of chords you draw in a circle, the chord which pass through exactly through the center will be the longest chord of the circle. Okay, so keep this in mind, the diameter is the longest chord of the circle. Okay, so if you draw any other chord which are not passing through the center, will always be smaller than the one which is passing through the center. Okay, now let's move ahead. Next very important term is the arc. Arc is a piece of circle between 2 points is called arc. So arc is simply a part of circle, or you can say piece of circle. Suppose we have this circle and we have marked 2 points which are A and B here, and the region of the circle, that is a piece or the part of the circle, this one which is marked with this blue line. Okay, so this blue curved line is called the arc. Okay, so arc is simply a piece, or you can say part of circle. Okay, arc is a piece of circle between 2 points is called arc. Okay, so we have marked 2 points on this circle, and this piece or the part of the circle between these 2 points is called the arc of the circle. That means arc is simply a part or the piece of the circle. Okay, so there are 2 pieces of circle. So once you mark 2 points, those 2 points will divide the circle into 2 parts. Okay, as you can see, this one which is slightly smaller than the second one, which is this arc. Okay, so whenever we mark 2 points on the circle, they will divide the circle into 2 parts. Okay, so the longer one is called the major arc, that is major arc AB, this one, and the shorter one will be called the minor arc, this one. Okay, or you can see in this figure, this region between A and B, this smaller one is called the minor arc, and this pink one which is a bigger in size is called the major arc. Okay, so the longer one is called the major arc and the shorter one is called the minor arc. So this is obtained by marking 2 points. Okay, so once you mark any 2 points on the circle, that will divide the circle into 2 parts. Okay, smaller one is called the minor arc, and the major one is called the longer one is called the major arc. Okay, next is when the 2 arcs are equal, each is called a semicircle. So if we have marked the 2 points as like this, that means if we mark the diameter, that will divide the circle into 2 equal parts, and each one will be known as the semicircle. Okay, when the 2 arcs are equal, each is called semicircle. If they are unequal in length, so the shorter one will be called the minor arc and the longer one will be called the major arc. But if both arcs are equal, then each will be called as the semicircle. Okay, that is the half of the circle. Next is the length of complete circle is called the circumference. So if we measure the length of the circle from, let's start from this point H, as going in this direction and coming back to this H, this complete length is called the circumference of the circle. Okay, so if you cut this from here and spread it, you will get a line like this, okay, and this is called the circumference of the circle, okay. So circumference is the length of the complete circle is called the circumference, okay. I hope you understood. Let's move ahead to the next related term, which is the segment, okay. Segment is the region between a chord and either of its arc is called the segment of the circle, okay. So remember here, so segment is the basically region between a chord and arc. So what we have done here is we have marked 2 points, and the part of the circle between 2 points will be called the arc, and if you join the 2 points you get a line segment, with that will be called the chord, okay. So we have this part of the circle which is the arc, and this line is called the chord, and the region between this, which is marked with this blue color, is called the segment, okay. So segment is simply the region between a chord and either of its arc is called the segment of the circle, okay. So three main terms that you have to remember from the definition is that this is the region between chord and arc. So the region between a chord and either of its arc is called the segment of the circle, okay. As you can see, we have this chord and arc, and this region between the arc and the chord is called the segment of the circle, okay. So again, when we mark the 2 points on the circle, that will divide the circle into two parts, okay. There are two types of segment. The bigger one, which is this one, is called the major segment, and the smaller one, which is here, is called the minor segment, okay. So whenever we mark a segment on a circle, we will eventually get the two segment of the circle, and the bigger one is called the major arc and the smaller one is called the minor arc, okay. Not arc, major segment and the minor segment, okay. Let's move ahead to the next one, which is the sector, okay. Sector is the region, again it's a region between an arc and two radii, okay. So again you have to remember the three words from this definition. Three keywords from here are the region, okay, between an arc and two radii, okay. Radii is the plural of radius, okay. So radius is singular and radii is the plural, okay. So sector is simply the region between an arc and two radii joining the center to the end point is called the sector, okay. Simply see that we have 2 points P and Q. So when we mark the 2 points, we'll get an arc here, okay, and we have joined these 2 points to the center, so we got two radius, okay. This is also radius, and in plural they are called radii, okay. Singular is radius, in plural it's called radii. So the region between an arc, which is PQ, and the two radius, which is PO and OQ, so this region is called the sector of the circle, okay. Sector is simply the region between an arc and two radii joining the center to the end point of the arc is called the sector, okay. Again, when we mark the sector in a circle, we'll get two types of sector, okay. There are two types of sector. First one is a major arc. The major arc correspond to the major sector, okay. The sector formed by this major arc is called the major sector, and the minor arc corresponds to the minor sector. So we have here this minor region, which I have put here, is called the minor sector, okay. So this is the minor sector, and this one is the major sector, okay. You have to write all this and draw all the figures, okay, to understand this better. So simply sector is a region between an arc and two radii. That region is called the sector of the circle. Again, there are two types of sector. The sector which is correspond to the major arc is called the major sector, and the sector correspond to the minor arc is called the minor sector, okay. Moving ahead, based on this we have exercise 10.1, which have only two questions. First one is of fill in the blanks and second one is of true and false, okay. So let's start with the question number 1. Here we have first question is fill in the blanks. In this first one is the center of a circle line dash of the circle. we are given two options, that is exterior or the interior. Okay, so the correct answer for this one is the center of a circle will always lie in its interior. So here we have to write interior. Okay, so that is the center of a circle lies in interior of the circle, that is it will always lie in the inside of the circle. Okay, next is a point whose distance from the center of a circle is greater than its radius lies in the circle. Okay, this means that we have a point whose distance from the center is greater than the radius. That means if it is the distance is more than radius, then it will must be lying outside the circle. That is, if you have a circle like this, okay, so the distance of the radius is this one. If you have any point whose distance from the center is more than the radius, that will certainly be lying outside the circle. Now you can see that this distance is more than the distance OB. OA is bigger than OB. Therefore, this OA must always lie in the exterior of the center. Okay, so the answer for here will be exterior. Okay, so a point whose distance from the center of circle is greater than its radius lies in exterior of the circle, that is outside the circle. Okay, next is the longest chord of a circle is a dash of the circle. Like I told you, the longest chord of a circle is a diameter of the circle. Okay, so here you have to write diameter, as the diameter is the longest chord of the circle since it passes through the center of the circle. Okay, next is an arc is dash when its end are the diameter. So if we have a circle and the arc is a dash when its end are the end of the diameter, so we have this diameter and the end point of this diameter are the end point of the end point of this arc is the end point of the diameter. So this will, each section will be called the semicircle. Okay, so we'll write an arc is a semicircle when its ends are the end of the diameter. Okay, next one is a segment of a circle is the region between an arc and segment of a circle is the region between an arc and a chord. Okay, like you have this circle, so this segment will form by this arc and the chord. Okay, so here you have to write arc and a chord. Okay, so the last one from this is a circle divide the plane on which lie in three parts, that is exterior, which is outside the circle itself, and the region inside the circle, which is called the interior. So here will be write three parts. Okay, so that's the answer of the question number 1 of exercise 10.1. Now let's move to the next question we have here is that write true and false, give region for your answer. Okay, so let's see the first one we have. Line segment joining the center to any point on the circle is a radius. Okay, so line segment joining the center to any point on the circle is a radius. Simply we have this circle and the line segment which join the center to any point on the circle is called the radius. So this one is true. Okay, you will write the statement below that this first one is true. Okay, I'm writing it here. Second is a circle has only finite number of equal chords. Okay, so this one is false, as we can draw as many as number we want to draw of equal chords. Okay, so if you have a circle, we can draw as many as number of equal chords we want to draw. Similarly, we can draw the chord of same measurement here also, from here also, and so on. So there is not finite, they will be infinite. Okay, so this one is false since we have infinite number of equal chords in a circle. Next is if a circle divide into three equal arcs, each is a major arc. Okay, so this one is again false, because if we are making three equal arcs, they will be called the equal arcs instead of calling them major or the minor arc. Okay, instead of, we will have major and a minor arc when one is bigger and other is shorter. Since we have three equal arcs, so each will be called the equal arcs, and okay, there is no major or the minor arc, so this one is also false. Next is a chord of a circle which is twice as long as its radius is the diameter of the circle. Okay, so simply diameter is twice of the radius, so this one is true. Next is sector is the region between the chord and its corresponding arc. Okay, sector is the region between a chord and the corresponding arc. Okay, if you remember the definition, sector is the region between the arc and two radii. Okay, so if we have the circle, sector is the region between the arc and the two radii. Okay, not the chord, so this one is again false. Okay, next one is a circle is a plane figure. Okay, since we have a circle is a two-dimensional, so it will be a plane figure. Okay, since we draw a circle on the plane, okay, so circle is a two-dimensional shape, hence it will be a plane figure, so this one is true. So that's the answer of question number 2 of exercise 10.1. With this we have concluded the exercise 10.1 knowledge related term. Okay, so that's all for now. Thanks for joining here everyone. Thank you.